The longest journey begins with a single step. That saying perfectly describes Chuck Donald's life. It has certainly been a journey, and it absolutely has been filled with steps. Steps as in life stages, and steps like walking and running. He has overcome things that he never thought he could, and that's what makes Chuck Donald our 2013 Inspirational Hometown Hero. Chuck, or Chucky, as he was known as a kid, is the son of Marion and Mildred Donald, who were both longtime teachers. Chuck grew up in Lebanon and was a proud Yellow Jacket. He made quite the name for himself as a track star. He inherited that from his dad. His dad set all kinds of records during his career at SMS, now MSU, and would have had a chance to go to the 1940 Olympics if it hadn't been for World War II. So running was in his blood. Chuck set all kinds of records around southwest Missouri, and in 1963, he set a record for running the mile that wasn't broken until 1990. Chuck, too, received track scholarships, but he turned them down in hopes for a more lucrative career. He received his civil engineering degree from the University of Missouri in 1968. He wanted to concentrate on making money because he was done with running, or so he thought. Chuck worked for the Department of Transportation, living in Kansas City with his wife and 2 young daughters. He had it all: a good job, a loving family, and a drinking problem. The first time he went to rehab, his coworkers didn't even know he drank. He was a master at masking his problem from everyone, except from his family. After a devastating divorce, he ran. Only this time, it wasn't to break a record, it was to escape. He went from job to job, city to city, before finally settling in Springfield. He pulled himself together, on the outside anyway, and even got engaged. But when that relationship fell apart, so did he. Already estranged from his daughters, he started drinking again, and he found himself in a very dark place.
He was actually homeless for a while, and that's when we got him into the Victory Mission. And then he was there for over a year. When we bought our house and moved here, then we moved him to Christian South, which is a very nice facility.
Yes,
very nice. And he was there over 2 years, I think.
When Chuck was in our facility, he was just very reclusive. He did not come out. He came out to eat his meals and he went directly back to his room.
Once social, he became an introvert. Once energetic, he was lethargic. Once athletic, he did nothing but watch TV every day. Once fit and trim, he gained nearly 50 pounds and didn't cut his hair. For over 3 years, he ran away from society and life, but that all changed with a surprise visit.
His 2 daughters came down when he was at Christian South, and they really wanted him in their life, and I think they reached him, and I think that's really what turned it around for him, was seeing his daughters and seeing them reach out to him, and he wanted to be a part of their life.
Well, when my daughters came to visit me, I was very embarrassed. I didn't want them to have lingering memories of me being there in that facility and dying as a drunk.
Right then and there, he decided it was time to step back into the real world. To help him put the pieces back together, Chuck returned to the one thing that always gave him strength. He began walking a few miles each day until he was averaging a 10-mile walk. Then he started running. This time, not away from something, but to something instead. He began to open the over 3 years' worth of mail and started the process of trying to reestablish himself as a legal entity.
He had no identification at all, no driver's license, Social Security. So basically we just went in, started from scratch. I contacted the Social Security office, we got his card, and then we went through the process of getting his birth certificate, which took a while, and several send-ins of different information that they needed.
He cut his hair, shaved off his beard, and got a full physical that revealed, surprisingly, that he had no major health problems, even after the years of abusing his body. Last April, he got his driver's license, although he still prefers riding his bike, and he was able to move into an apartment. Though no small steps, that wasn't all he wanted out of life. Chuck believes that there are 4 sides to life: the mental, the physical, the social, and the spiritual side. He tended to his physical side by walking and running, which cultivated his mental side too. Focusing on his spiritual side, he began attending the First United Methodist Church, where he developed a personal relationship with Pastor Bob Howard.
I met Chuck, and after visiting with him for a while, I encouraged him to nurture his spiritual side by getting back involved in the community and volunteering.
Chuck quickly became a part of the Salvation Army. He is manager of their food pantry and took on other roles like bell ringing during the Christmas season. Last December, Chuck petitioned the city for permission to collect money on the street corner, which they granted. He could be found at the intersection of Jefferson Avenue and Elm Street with his red Santa hat and his Chuck nameplate for as many as 12 straight hours. The bell-ringing campaign raised a record-breaking $6,000 for the Salvation Army.
Well, it had been 4 years since I really had a Christmas and been at the facility, and this was like a new awakening. It was like a new Christmas for me. Everybody was so generous and kind, not only in the contributions, but also bringing me beverages and inviting me to their eateries to eat free and this sort of thing. It was everybody was in a very Christmas mood.
After working full-time as a volunteer for the Salvation Army, Chuck then chose to also volunteer for Red Cross. Within a couple of months, Chuck was deployed to help with Hurricane Isaac, and then later he was also deployed to Hurricane Sandy. In addition, he is helping to get a homeless shelter established in Lebanon. He also plans to minister around the surrounding area in hopes of reaching people who can relate and benefit from his story. Pretty big steps for someone who once lost it all.
I've wasted 10 years of my life with drinking. I've replaced it with volunteerism, and I'm looking for a wife.
Now, Chuck feels like a new person, and he has his self-respect back. He's even training for a 5K and plans to enter a 10K. Volunteering for the Salvation Army and the Red Cross and ministering to those in need is his way of repaying some of the blessings that he's received. Chuck knows that he can't go back and make a brand new start, but he can start now to make a brand new ending. It just takes a few steps. Steps as in life stages, and for him, steps like walking and running. For proving that it is possible to overcome addiction and be of service to other people, Chuck Donald is our 2013 Inspirational Hometown Hero.